Yeah.
Welcome back, Portugal junkies.
Hello.
We're so glad to have you back.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good day. It's nice and cool.
It's 63 degrees today.
Kind of walked out this morning and thought, ooh, I might get away with wearing jeans. No way.
It was seriously like fall this morning
Yeah,
when we went outside. So that was really nice.
That was lovely.
Not that it's been pretty warm here, but not super, super hot. But
No.
It was nice to have a little bit of cool Christmas in the air today.
Yeah, it almost made you feel like you could go out for a cinnamon flavoured iced coffee, something or other.
You know, Starbucks
got
has
in
already put their
Starbucks.
fall
Have
drinks
they?
out.
Oh my God.
I saw it. I think it was
gee.
today. I saw it. Maybe either today or yesterday. They have an apple chai something. Yes, there are Starbucks here, by the way. And some days I am very American and I go to the Starbucks, but I also scoff at how much they charge for things.
Yeah.
Because you can get a really great cup of coffee
For under €1.
Yeah, and then you go to Starbucks and it's still like €4 for a
Give
cappuccino.
me the keys to your house.
Yeah. So anyway, when I'm missing home and I want to do something very American, I do go get a Starbucks. You know why?
No.
I go to Starbucks because they have travel cups. So one thing you need to know
gosh.
about Europe, for those of you who haven't experienced it much, the coffee here is amazing. It's hands down. A cafe is an espresso though, right? And you can order other types, like I had a cappuccino this morning, that kind of thing. But the likelihood that you can go into a cafe and actually get like a traveling to-go cup of anything is very small.
Now, here's the thing, you might get a cup, but you will almost certainly not get a lid.
Oh yeah, I actually paid 50 cents for a
the
cup
lid.
the other day because we
That's
went to a
ridiculous.
coffee shop. I'll tell you this story in a second because we didn't have internet at our house for 4 days. But we were forced to kind of go to a coffee shop and work, and we were trying to like be respectful, so we would go to one coffee shop for a couple hours and then go to the next
another,
coffee
and then-
shop. And so the
like
second one we
set
went
coffee
to,
down.
I love. It's called Simply Coffee, and like the ambiance in there is really cool, but no plugs. Literally no
Yeah.
plugs, but we didn't know that. Like no plugs around the entire, I don't even know how they operate. There were no plugs near any seat in Simply Coffee.
And I think that's on purpose.
But we didn't discover this until after we ordered our iced lattes, which is also very rare to find really good
Yeah,
iced
it's a nice
coffee.
one. It's a good one.
And so I was sitting there with this huge coffee, knowing that my computer was on its last like little bar, knowing that I was gonna have to take that coffee to go. So I ended up paying 50 cents for a to-go cup that didn't have a lid. This is how it is. But I go back to when I just want that traditional like my sister Jackie when she came here. She was like, I think I'd have a problem living here. And I was
Yeah.
like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's
I
the
need
coffee
a 32
situation.
ounce coffee to get going. It's like,
She needs volume
Yeah.
instead of like pack a punch.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find coffees here that are
That are
volume.
volume that size. So here's a top tip. If you are coming over.
Top tip.
Yeah, if you are coming over, bring a travel cup, if that's what you have. So that when you buy your coffee, you can just pour it into that and then you can walk around. But there are not, I will say this, there are not many people that I've seen over these last months that carry coffee around when they're walking up and down the
No,
street.
because it doesn't exist here.
Well, number one, because it doesn't exist. But number two, I think you just would wear it more than you would drink it because you would get
yes. Yeah.
pummeled
It's a lot
by
of people on the street.
So, yeah.
You have to do a lot of dodging and weaving
Yeah.
and all
Yeah, I take it back. Don't bring a travel cup.
that. No.
Blend
no.
in.
And here's the thing, this is the difference, right? As Americans, we're always like on the go, like take your coffee as you're doing something else, or grab your coffee as you're running your errands. There's always like multitasking. Here, it's sit
It's like,
down and
do
have
one
a
thing,
drink, you know,
and then
have
do
a
another
coffee.
thing.
Yeah,
Separately.
it's just cultural, but
Yeah.
I do sometimes have to have
I'm
my
good with that.
traditional, you know, Starbucks something. Anyway, the fall menu is out, but I don't know if it's here.
Right.
So I have to check that because I saw apple chai something
But you know what?
and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I
but
want that. It's
but
too early though.
Well, it's not what I was going to say, but you know, The point of today's one is that there isn't one in
Where we're
this
going?
new place that we're going
That's
to.
true. But before we get, so today we're going to talk about why we're leaving Porto. And I know that we have talked about it high level before, and why we're moving to Tavira specifically. So we wanted to share a little bit more about this whole transition story and kind of like next step of our exciting journey. But I did tell a story about the Starbucks, but let's talk about the other drama that happened this week. Not that Starbucks was a drama, but the drama of our internet. What day was it? Friday or Saturday? Saturday?
I want to say it was Friday.
We were sitting here in the house. We were actually watching TV and connection stopped. We realized that the internet was no longer connected. We waited a few minutes because we thought, well, maybe it's just
like a
fluke,
glitch,
whatever. An
Reset.
hour later, still no internet. Mark gets on to the company that we're with, NOS, and they're like, yeah, it's something not with your modem, it's something literally, on the outside of your building. And that's going to require someone to come out, which I'm fine, 4 days from now. Now, this is what happens in a place like Portugal. Yeah. And we always talk about
Portuguese
patience and things move more slowly, but this kind of stuff, y'all, come on.
Yeah.
Like people who work from home or people who depend on internet service at home in order to literally create income for themselves. 4 days.
Yeah.
It was 4 days.
It was a bit much.
4 days of no internet in this house, and I know I sound like first world problems right now, and I'm trying to put a little disclaimer on it, but I mean, it was just like, it disrupted our entire lives. And then I thought, oh my God, how embarrassing is it that it disrupts my whole life?
Right.
But it does.
Yeah.
So that is a good example of things that happen here that you have absolutely no control over. And you wonder as an immigrant from the US and England, but the US especially, how there's so much competition with service and companies and for
if
instance,
you don't fix it, I'll move somewhere else. I will fix it then.
Right, like a Verizon versus a T-Mobile or a Spectrum versus Verizon or whatever, and they have that customer service thing that has been created because they want to be good competitors or be better than the next company. Well, here, that doesn't.
No.
It doesn't really exist.
If it does, it's silent.
Yeah.
It's really silent.
It doesn't feel like it exists, especially not to the extent that it does in America. And a lot of that is capitalism and all those other things.
But ultimately, when they came, he came and
he was great.
He's been once before because we've had power or internet outage. This is now the 5th time. We've been through 3 new modems, at least 3.
Did you say modems?
Yeah.
Like a modem?
Like a...
You said
router.
modem.
Yeah, modem.
Y'all.
Router. Modem.
This is a good example of our relationship right here. Modem.
Yeah,
modem. Anyway, yes, we have had internet troubles. We have had so much internet trouble.
Anyway, he fixed it within a few minutes.
Yeah, and he was lovely.
He was great.
But it was just could you have done this on Saturday? Thank you. Or even Sunday. It would have been great.
If we weren't moving, I would be half tempted to ask him for his phone number. Just so that we could have him on speed dial.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway, that's the drama. So now we've covered Starbucks and we've covered...
yeah, you've got an extra story in this morning.
Yeah.
Internet and Starbucks. Probably find Starbucks is more interesting. Especially to you.
Okay, so let's talk about, let's tell the people. What is it that we are, so we are, what is today? August?
22nd-ish?
I don't know. And we have a little bit left in August.
Yeah.
And we have all of September.
Yep.
But October 1st, we are leaving Porto.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, we'll do it this way.
Oh.
Why are we leaving Porto? Because I will say, before I let you finish.
Really?
These people who listen to us know how much we love Porto.
Yes.
So a lot of them are probably like, what the hell?
Why would you
are you all lying about how amazing Porto is because you're leaving it. So why are we leaving it?
For us, we are leaving it mostly, if not completely, because of the weather around the winter time. If anybody's watched Game of Thrones and you have the wall and the winter is coming, substitute the cold with the ice and the snow with just rain.
Chuva.
And more rain and a lot more rain. And we had it for 3 months between December and February. I think we got about 5, maybe 7 days off of all of that period of time. And that is no joke. I mean, it's no lie either. It's legitimate, awful. It was the worst one on record. I will go with saying that.
Yeah, it was the worst winter, according to locals, for sure.
We don't have a crystal ball, and we are not prepared to go through that again when we can be our own guide for where we want to be.
Yeah.
We don't have to put up with it. We're lucky in that sense. We don't have to put up with it. We don't have kids in school that we have to keep that sort of thing. So we are very much a nomadic options. Yeah. And if we can do that to better our sanity, then hell, why not?
Hell, why not?
Why not?
So
predominantly for the weather.
It's funny to hear him say that that's the first thing, because I mean we both agree on this, obviously, but the rain for me, guys. I mean, I literally had talked about it before on the podcast. I really talked about it more along the lines of how it affected me emotionally. Kind of like seasonal affect disorder type of thing, where it's like we were just kind of held hostage to the rain.
Yeah.
And it was right when we moved here, and you're in a big city, and then by the time January came along, we had the dog with us, and taking her out in the rain every day, 2-3 times a day, and it was tough. Yeah. And that was on top of an emotional transition, right? Of leaving home and coming to a new country where you don't know anything and all of that stuff, right? So anyway, it was pretty hard. So yeah. I told him after that winter, I was like, I think we need to really consider if we want to go through this again.
Yeah, it's been rebranded the Winter of Discontent.
There was a lot of drama.
A lot.
So
and even as an English person, it was a lot of rain. So
that's a big deal.
And that's a big deal for me. Yeah.
Why else are we leaving Porto?
When you don't have to be somewhere and you've enjoyed what you've had, why not explore more? And that was another thing as well, is the fact that we wanted this to be an adventure, a wider adventure than just one pocket of place. And we chose here after we, looked at several different places to live.
Yeah.
And so we always knew this was never going to be the final, long-term, that's it.
I would say we weren't sure. I don't think we can be hopeful, but
I don't think you would have lived in a city for period.
I agree.
I don't think you would. I don't know that I would, to be fair. I love open spaces, and I think that's another thing. If you're in Porto, unless you move to some of the outer side neighbourhoods, you are going to be not hemmed in, but you're going to be overlooked by taller buildings, by older buildings, and they're beautiful. Well, some aren't, but most are.
Some are falling apart.
I think just the crowds as well. We make a joke, and it's like a joke, under your breath of bloody tourists. It's like, will you move? Keep walking.
By the way, we're still tourists.
We're still tourists, but and I get it. We would have done the same thing when we first came here. It's like, oh, look at that, look at this. Let's take a photo. Let's stop in the middle of the road, and 20 people have got to walk around us while we look at a map, turning it 400 different ways to try and work out where you are.
I think when it comes back to it, there's just a lot of people here. You're in a big city. It's the second biggest city in Portugal, and so. For me, in addition to the rain, I think it's really hard for me to think about living in a city permanently.
Yeah.
And, I say that having lived in Charlotte since 2005. However, I wasn't living in a city proper. Charlotte's kind of a sprawling, very neighborhood type of city, right? You're not like uptown. It's not like New York City, right? And so for me, it's just really rooted in like maybe a slower pace, right? Like this place is full of vibrance and like you could go out every day and find something new to do.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Yep.
And those are all great things, but it's still city. It's still very crowded. It's still, you know, kind of dirty sometimes.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest. Like you're still in city, right? Like, and I don't mean that to be disparaging at all, but it's just any kind of bigger city. You're gonna have more challenges keeping it kind of pristine and beautiful in all places, and it's just, it's not like that. Now there are some places that are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, there are.
And then there are some places that are not. And so I think that's part of it. So definitely weather, definitely crowds, definitely city life. It's almost like we've checked the box on city life.
Yeah, I think so. And that's not to say that we wouldn't come back to city life.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
It's just, we kind of want to look at this adventure like, where are we going next?
Right. And that was the whole point of doing it the way that we've done it.
Yeah.
And being fortunate that our situation affords us the opportunity to do it that way.
Right.
And that's not everybody's. It's not everybody's choice or desire or whatever. But it is ours.
But I am glad that we've experienced it 100%.
Yeah,
like it will always have a special place for me in my heart, just because we really learned about Portugal culture here.
Yeah.
And we really met some of the most wonderful people here. And so for all of that, it's made me really appreciative of our choice to begin the journey here, and then now we get to move on to the next thing, you know?
So we've decided to move to Tavira to have another adventure, see how long that one lasts for. It might be 6 months, it might be a year, it might be much longer, who knows, But why Tavira for you, based on all the other things that we could do?
I think when you look at Portugal, and when most people look at Portugal, especially from a lens of like, where would I feel like I could live? I believe that northern Portugal is the opposite of the Algarve, which is southern Portugal. And to me, it's like we've had this city life, we've experienced this tough winter weather, right? And that type, I'm not saying it doesn't get wet in the winter there, but I think that the weather patterns are very different there. And in fact, I know that they are. And so it's hotter, it's warmer, it's beach life. It's honestly, the Algarve is kind of like where people know in Portugal. Now, whether that's true and accurate, or if it's very through an immigrant lens, or basically a kind of expat type community, which is a lot of who lives in the Algarve.
It really is.
That's the truth. But it is known, like people know the Algarve.
Yeah.
It is the most popular spots probably in all of Portugal. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm saying that it's probably the most well known for retirees and vacationers and all of that stuff. And I'm interested. I want to know what all the fuss is about, and I want to experience it. And I feel like it's almost the exact opposite of what we've experienced so far in Porto. So it makes sense to me that maybe we would do the opposite and see if we like that. It is
quite funny though, just to pull onto that what you've just said.
What?
And the other day when I went to get my hair cut and get a beard trim, all the rest of it.
You look great, dude.
Thank you. And my barber, Ricardo, really lovely guy. And I said to him, this was my second to last haircut with him. And he said, oh no, why? What's going on? It's like, we're moving to the Algarve. He said, the Algarve is really beautiful. It's very hot. It's great weather, fantastic food, like fish and such. He said, but whereabouts in the Algarve? And I said, Tavira. He said, Little Britain. I was like, oh, Jesus.
Probably accurate. Probably accurate.
I mean, you've got Tavira.
There's definitely an English community.
You've got Conceição and Cabanas, Tavira, and those two specific areas are heavily populated with an expat immigrant group. I'm not going to say dominated by English, but there's a very healthy amount of English people there.
I will also say, I mean, to the point where you can see breakfast menus that say English breakfast on there, like a true English breakfast in Portugal.
You're saying it like it's a bad thing.
No, I'm just, they are definitely catering to that community.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about it. There's part of me that is, if I'm honest, kind of comforted just because you're going to have more, I would say, more immigrants and more expats in a smaller location or a more like small town vibe that we can get to know.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily want all of our friends to just be immigrants and expats. And I'm not saying that negatively either. No. I want Portuguese friends.
I want a mix. To have a mix is going to be fabulous.
But I think that takes effort.
Oh, of course it does. And I think that's one of the things that's made it a bit harder in Porto.
Yeah.
Or in a larger city, where to go to meetups or things like that, there's a lot more effort behind it. There's a lot more an intentionality. Yeah. Whereas I think in a smaller fishing village community, you're likely to
might feel easier.
Trip over people that you can have conversations with.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the ideal scenario, and we've had it here for quite a bit. You walk past a restaurant, you walk past a bar or a cafe or whatever, and you say hi, and you say hi back, and so you get that sense of achievement.
He's always loved this.
And I'm really looking forward to that a whole lot more in a smaller community, because it's a smaller amount of people to do it with.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a real win for us, and certainly for me.
Well, and the other thing is, it's, I mean, obviously much slower pace, but Tavira itself, when we visited with this eye of like, we were trying to decide between Tavira and Lagos, which are both lovely places for different reasons, but Lagos is bigger and it's a little bit, I won't say a little bit, it's a lot more commercial.
Yeah.
But man, the nature and the cliffs and the coastline there is almost enough to make you go, I don't care about it being commercial.
That's enough.
But Tavira felt like dreamy. It just felt dreamy to me. There's a castle in the middle of the town. There's a river running through it. You hop on a ferry and they take you to an island, Ilha de Tavira, and it is the most beautiful, pristine beach. There are multiple like seafood restaurants right there. There's a beach bar. There's cabanas. Like, it just felt like, oh my god,
it's 11
we
miles.
have this life.
Yeah, it's 11 miles long with different beach names.
Yes,
or dotted
beautiful.
along.
And so the beach life kind of enticed me.
Yeah,
100%. And a slower, just even slower pace. Like, it's funny coming from like corporate life and running a real estate business and all of that stuff that we're just exhausted from, to come here and do this adventure with not a whole lot planned is such a privilege, right?
Of course it is.
But the transition of that, of trying to like peel that shit off of you,
it takes time,
and try to figure out like, what does it mean to be productive and what kind of lifestyle is actually what we're looking for. I think that's the crux of it with Porto. I love Porto. I just don't know if I could live here forever.
No.
And so if I know that and you know that, it's like, then we need to go explore some more.
Now's the time to
So that's kind of how we're approaching it, I think, in terms of, is there anything else about Tavira that made you, well, I know one of the requirements, obviously we still did not want to have a car. So when we were looking at places in the Algarve, it was important to us, and we've mentioned it on a prior podcast, where it's like, if you don't want a car, then you need to be in a place that at least has a train station or accessibility to other forms of transportation that you can use to go and come and all that other stuff. And Tavira does have a train station, and it's freaking adorable.
Yep.
So that was one of the things that checked the box.
And also, we wanted a place where it was ground floor. We could walk the dog out. She had a lot more greenery, like literally out the front of the door.
No more 63 steps up.
No, definitely not even 20. And the place that we found, we've been lucky enough to get, have a great landlord from the get-go. Swimming pool availability, it's just, again, it's just another adventure, another option of an adventure.
All of those things about the apartment were definitely requirements for us. Yeah. It's like once we found Tavira to be the area to be the place we wanted, those are the things about the apartment that we were looking for, you know? Like outdoor space for the dog and outdoor space for us.
Yeah.
Like the pool and the grounds and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It was just, it's more of a beach life type.
You wake up
existence.
and you think, okay, it's 8 o'clock. I may take the dog and then I go to the pool. So I think that it's just a great opportunity to refocus. You know, what do we want next? Where do we want it next?
Yeah. So if you haven't looked up Tavira, you should. If you haven't put it on your list of places to go while you're traveling in Portugal, you should. All those things.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
Sure. If you have questions that we're not addressing, or you would just want to submit a question for us, we do these once in a while. You've heard them before probably, and so we'll probably do one of those soon. We will have a follow-up second part taxes with Hui soon. We're also going to be interviewing our attorney here in Portugal. Really more along the lines of like what services he can help you do if you are trying to get your ducks in a row to move and get your visa. So if you need a NIF, bank account, lease review, all those kinds of things he does. Yeah. Also helps people negotiate and buy homes.
Yes.
So we are going to have him on.
Yep.
And we're also going to interview, I'm hoping, I haven't gotten confirmation yet, but I would love to start interviewing people who have moved over here in different situations.
Different places, different reasons why they moved and what they moved with.
You know, we're here with no kids and one dog, right? That's a very different experience than you're moving with your whole family.
Yep.
Or you are empty nesters who are struggling to leave your adult children in the U.S. And so we're hoping that we will find the right people to come on and be guests
absolutely.
with us.
I also wonder about getting hold of one or two of our Portuguese friends and having them on as well.
That would be fun. Ask them the real deal.
Yeah. It's like, what do you really think?
What do you really think? Awesome. No. Well, thank you guys so much. One more little plug. If you have not seen, we are building a community membership that we currently have a wait list for until it is ready to go. Yep. And we're going to start doing, if you join the membership, we're going to start doing weekly live meetups where we're spending maybe 15-20 minutes talking about something that we feel is important and valuable in terms of like the whole process of potentially moving over here. The membership is really focused on two things. Number one, helping you decide whether moving abroad is for you. And the second thing is helping you decide if Portugal is the right place for you if you're going to move abroad. And we want to be the support that helps you do that. Yep. And so we are going to be opening that up soon, but for now there's a wait list that you can join, and we will email you when we are ready to open the doors. Yep. But you can find that on our Stand store, stand.store/Portugal Junkies. And you can click right in there to the community page and leave us your email, and we will email you. We're very excited about this.
And don't forget about the itineraries.
Oh, and Mark's been doing
itinerary building.
Customized itineraries for people who are traveling in Portugal.
Yep.
So that's really cool too. So basically having a console.
Hotels and where to go. And
the hidden places we found.
How to spend a lazy day.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
All sorts of stuff.
History buffs.
History.
Yeah.
Yes.
Things like that. So anyway, if we can help you with any of that, let us know. If you have questions that you want us to field from you, send us a message. We're just so thankful for your support and your continued listening. And
viewership.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Take care.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Listen up, future expats. For more content about our move, the visa process, Portuguese culture and destinations, and tons of support resources for your own decisions and potential move abroad, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Portugal Junkies.
Stay in touch and help us reach more people by subscribing here and following us there.
Cheers, y'all!